Did you ever think a Dula 3 fine could burn an entire empire to the ground? I'm not talking metaphorically, there was actual smoke, flames, and a pile of secrets spilling out of a wall when Lisa Harper realized she'd picked a fight with the wrong guy. That's me, by the way, standing in the yard, sipping sweet tea, watching the chaos unfold like a barbecue gone wrong. This is the story of how a tiny fine turned into a war, and how I, the quiet landlord nobody saw coming, brought down an HOA that thought it owned the world. It all kicked off with that Dula 3 fine. I've still got the notice, framed now, hanging next to my toolbox. Sunrise Pines HOA, Lisa's Kingdom, slapped me with it because of a glitch in their payment portal. My auto-drafted HOA fee was a few hours late. $3. I laughed when I saw it, standing barefoot on my porch, coffee gone cold. Lisa Harper, our HOA president, wasn't laughing. She was the type to wear heels to check mailboxes for dents, and once fined a retired nurse for excessive Christmas lights. I paid the Dula 3 that same day, thinking it was done. Boy, was I wrong. Weeks later, the letters started piling up. A Dula 25 late penalty. A Dula 50 reassessment fee. Then a Dula 100 non-compliance lien preparation charge. I called the HOA office. Betty, the receptionist, sounded like a robot. It's in Section 8C of the guidelines. Want a hearing? A hearing? For $3? I sent checks, emailed, even tried calling Lisa. No reply. Then one morning, I found a foreclosure notice rubber banded to my doorknob. No court date, no warning, just a cold paragraph saying my house was headed to auction over persistent non-payment. The fine had ballooned to Dula 1,500. My dog, Scout, barked like he knew we were under attack. I didn't yell or lawyer up. I just smiled. Lisa thought she'd won. She had no idea who she was dealing with. Here's the thing about Lisa. She loved her power. She'd roll through the neighborhood in her shiny golf cart, clipboard in hand, snapping photos of violations, like she was hunting trophies. The board 5 loyal puppets did whatever she wanted. They voted to foreclose on my house unanimously. I sat in the back of that meeting, quiet, watching Lisa smirk as she said, "Motion carried." I nodded, thanked them, and left. They didn't know I'd been buying up Sunrise Pines for years. Not houses, land. 51% of the dirt under this neighborhood, including the lots under every board member's home, belonged to me. I wasn't always this guy. I grew up in a rental that smelled like damp socks, but my dad taught me to save, invest, wait. After the army, I used the GI Bill for a business degree, worked construction, and flipped my first house. I kept going, buying low, holding properties under LLCs with names like Pinecrest Ventures or Willow Grove Holdings. Nobody connected the dots. I scooped up foreclosures, short sales, even off-market deals from retirees. By the time Lisa signed that foreclosure notice, I owned the ground under her triple-gabled mansion, the treasurer's tacky 4-car garage, and the HOA's precious office. They were my tenants. They just didn't know it. I let the foreclosure happen. Packed a bag, walked Scout out, waved at the nosy neighbors, and drove to a duplex I owned 2 miles away. While Lisa prepped to auction my house, I collected rent from a dozen properties and planned my move. I'd spent years studying the HOA bylaws, cross-referencing every fine Lisa issued. Her pattern was clear: cross her, and she'd bleed you dry with fees. I had spreadsheets, emails, photos, proof of her vendettas, selective enforcement, and shady deals. But I didn't sue. That's what she wanted to fight. Instead, I let her move into my foreclosed house, just like I knew she would. I overheard her bragging at a board meeting. "We'll stage the auction, flip it, make the HOA a fortune." She didn't know the auctioneer was my tenant or that her LLC was already on my radar. The HOA office sat on a sliver of land I'd bought cheap a decade ago. Lisa leased it through one of my shell companies, Oakridge Equity, thinking she'd scored a deal. Every month, I cashed her checks. She posed for photos at the grand opening, shaking hands with the mayor's aide, acting like she'd built the Taj Mahal. I taped that newspaper clipping to my fridge, right next to a magnet that said, "Landlord, the one who collects rent from fools." My first move was subtle. I sent a lease increase notice to the HOA office, 6.8 fan tram hike due to tax reassessments. Lisa scoffed at a board meeting, clueless that I owned the only other commercial lot in the area. Then I sent notices to the board members. "Dear Mr. and Mrs. Thornton, your land lease on parcel 42B is under review. Submit updated documentation or risk termination." Most didn't even know they were leasing their lots buried in fine print from the developer. Lisa got hers first. She called my attorney, furious, demanding a meeting. I showed up at her door in a suit, handed her the letterhead, and watched her face crumble. "You," she stammered. I nodded. "Me." She threatened lawsuits, the county, everything. I just said, "Pay the rent or vacate the land. Keep the house. I just want the dirt." She slammed the door. One by one, the board got their letters. The treasurer, Mike, started sweating. Betty looked sick. Lisa called an emergency meeting, accusing me of coercion. I sat in the front row, sipping coffee, and passed out copies of the lease agreements office, board homes, all mine. The room went silent. Lisa's gavel shook. "We're overdue for a rent discussion," I said. The power had flipped. They'd ruled with fines and smirks for years. Now they were tenants on my ground, and I held the strings. I posted an EVY tie-in notice on the HOA office. Due law 14,000 owed, 30 days to pay or vacate. I delivered it during Lisa's weekly leadership circle, setting the envelope on her podium and walking out. She didn't scream, just stared like it was a bomb. By afternoon, she was tearing through county records, tracing my LLCs. She found my name in a 2016 affidavit VYT and realized the truth. The community buzzed. "The HOA's getting EVY, Ted? Lisa signed a lease with him?" She sent a vague email about administrative oversights, but I didn't let her spin it. I hosted a public lease auction for the office lot chairs, food trucks, flyers. Neighbors came, some laughing, some angry. Lisa showed up, hissing, "This is illegal." I handed her the default ledger. "Pay or bid," I said. She stormed off. That night the board cracked. Mike, the treasurer, admitted they'd overpaid Lisa's cousin for landscaping. Betty questioned the budget. Neighbors demanded audits. Then someone maybe leaked internal documents, due law 40,000 in, aesthetic enhancements, to Lisa's family, emails about targeting, problem, homeowners, hidden budget tricks. The community Facebook group exploded. Lisa's lawn got egged. A "for lease" sign on the office was defaced with her face and the VYL horns. Lisa didn't quit. She tried to seize my land with an eminent domain letter claiming the office was public infrastructure. I laughed so hard I spilled my coffee. My cousin at the DOJ sent a scathing response. Procedurally invalid and constitutionally absurd. I delivered it to Lisa myself. At her final board meeting, she ranted about private actors destroying the community. I stood up, passed out the DOJ letter, and said, "This building serves Lisa's ego, not the public." The crowd gasped. Someone clapped. Then the fire alarm screamed. Smoke poured from the back room. People ran, Mike tripped, and the smell of burning paper hit. Firefighters arrived fast, but the damage was done. The heat popped a hidden wall panel, spilling boxes of secret documents, Lisa's handwritten notes, shady transactions, a thumb drive labeled "Board Confidential." Cops found hundreds of thousands misrouted through Lisa's family. The press called it the bonfire of greed. Lisa's mascara-streaked face hit the front page. Subpoenas flew. Betty turned state's witness. Mike skipped town. The county dissolved the HOA entirely. I bought the burnout office for pennies and donated it to a homeless shelter, renaming it Unity Haven. I painted a mural, neighbors sharing meals, with "Community isn't ruled, it's built," in bold. Here's the kicker, Lisa, drowning in legal fees and debt, applied for housing there. I saw her name on the list, sitting in the waiting room, clutching a questionnaire. She looked up, saw me in my work boots, and froze. I nodded once and kept walking. Revenge isn't always loud. Sometimes it's a least notice, a quiet deed, a fire that lights up the truth. Lisa thought she ran Sunrise Pines. Now she's a tenant in a shelter on my dirt, and the only empire left is the one I built, one lot at a time.